Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here with some NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for tonight's single game showdown slate, Thursday Night Football, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, we're back to those Thursday night games. Total super low tonight, but it doesn't matter. We're here to help you out because there's still $1 million to first on DraftKings, couple 100,000 to first over on FanDuel, and no matter who's playing, we still got contests to play. So this is what we'll do. In these videos, we talk about the injuries that impact the slate, low risk and high risk lineup construction tips for both FanDuel and DraftKings, and some general tips to help get you to the top of those contest leaderboards. Welcome, I'm Brian Jester, co-founder at Occupy Fantasy, single game $1 million winner. And before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel, get notified when we go live, upload these showdown videos. Reminder of the schedule in season. Thursday and Monday, we upload these slate preview videos for showdown slates. Friday afternoons or evenings, or sometimes Saturday mornings, Chris, our NFL writer, will release the main slate preview. Saturday afternoon, we have the live Q&A for the NFL main slate. Tuesday night's $1 million mission. All kinds of stuff. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you appreciate the content. It helps the channel. Any questions, comment on the video. Happy to answer them throughout the day here on YouTube. Or join our Discord server, occupyfantasy.com/Discord. Get more in-depth answers. Chat with us throughout the day. Other members of the community. Sweat the games with us tonight. So let's jump into it. Browns and Steelers. First thing we have to look at, I'm going to pull up our live odds feed here on occupyfantasy.com. And you see that this total opened at 40.5. It's now down to 38.5, 38 in some spots. Bettor's not really interested in these two offenses at this point, only just 2 weeks into the season. Other thing that's impacting this as well, 20 miles per hour winds tonight. We know that wind impacts passing games pretty dramatically once it gets above that 15 mile per hour mark. And the Cleveland home games are no stranger to these wind games. It's not going to be super crazy tonight, but enough to impact it. And considering these two offenses, no surprise that the total is below 38 points. And that will come into play with our high-risk lineup construction build, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But let's talk about low risk, 50-50s, double-ups, head-to-heads. These are contests where you just have to beat half the field, right? And before we get started, there are no injuries that impact the slate, right? Jesse James, the number 3 tight end, is out, and that's it. That's literally it. And as we look at low-risk contests tonight, the one thing that we have to realize, unlike most of the slates that we've had so far this season for Showdown, there are no values beyond the kickers and defenses. So if we scroll down here, this is on DraftKings, and it's very similar on FanDuel as well. We have the defenses and the kickers, 4,400 to 3,800. After that, we have a running back 2 in Jalen Warren. We have a backup tight end. We have a wide receiver 3, a running back 3, a wide receiver 3 who doesn't play much because Cleveland is one of the teams that play the heaviest 2 tight end personnel in the entire league. So we don't even see a lot of David Bell or Anthony Schwartz. A fullback, backup receiver, number 5 receiver, number 4. Like none of these guys, unlike if you remember any slate so far this year, it's like, oh, this tight end or this receiver plays a lot and they're 2K or 3K or even $200 in some spots. Not the case tonight. So that impacts how we build. And because we can't just lock up the scoring by playing both running backs, both quarterbacks, because there's no value to help fill that out, right? But the one way we can do that in a low total game, one of our favorite low risk strategy moves is playing the favorite defense at the captain spot. So if you play the Browns defense, who are 4-point favorites tonight at the captain spot, they'll be pretty popular. Now you have 88.60 left per player, and you can fit whoever you want after that. And that's the way we would play it tonight. And you're going to leave some salary left over doing this, but it's not like you can upgrade. There's no benefit to using more money on a slate like this. And we'll talk about that in the high risk section as well. Now, if you go to FanDuel, where there is no salary multiplier, basically what you have to do, so you have these 4 main guys. These are the 4 core scorers, right? Both quarterbacks, both running backs. Only 2K left over. Obviously can't fit all 4 in. So you have to pick 3 of these 4, maybe even 2 of these 4, fit in the Browns defense, and that's enough to get you started in low-risk contests over there. Again, super low-scoring expected game. Maybe it surprises and scores more, but either way, these are the 4 guys plus the Cleveland defense that you're going to want to get into your lineups. So let's go back over to DraftKings. Now, high-risk contests. No value is one angle that we have to play here and think about. The other is the low total in this game. So I'll give you 2 strategies. One that looks at the no value side, and one that looks at the low total side. We'll give you some numbers here, right? So for small field contests especially, and we'll talk about this in our daily plug that's posted later this afternoon, Monday afternoon, or Thursday afternoon, sorry. When we don't have any values on whether it's FanDuel or DraftKings especially, what you end up seeing being really underplayed, but also have a high win rate when it comes to less than 500 player GPPs. And we might even see this in the large GPP if nothing crazy happens at all. It's playing uncorrelated lineups in the sense that you're playing kickers. Let me show you really quick. So if you play Nick Chubb at captain, what might be optimal is Steelers defense against him. Or normally you don't do this. If you've read our showdown guide, we normally don't play kickers against opposing running backs, but this might be optimal. Or vice versa. Maybe it's Browns defense in the flex with Chris Boswell. This doesn't make sense from a game script perspective, right? But in small field contests, when there's no value, you really just want to get in as many of these high floor players as you can and differentiate in 1 to 2 spots. Instead of playing, a David Bell or an Anthony Schwartz, yeah, they might get there in a couple catches, but if you play these uncorrelated small field lineups, you have a really good chance of getting at least in the top 1%, top 5% of these less than 500 player GPPs on both sides. So keep that in mind. If you're making lineups, you're going to think this might not make much sense. I know we tell you to tell a story when you make a lineup, but they might not make much sense in small field contests, but that is the right way to play it on a slate like this where there is no value. Now, the other angle is this 38 point total or whatever it is. And I got some numbers for you. So we've looked at 165 DraftKings showdown slates over the past 3-4 years. And when the actual game scores less than 40 points, right, which is pretty possible given a 38-point total tonight, the average salary that is used in the winner decreases by $700. If it's a greater than 40-point score, the average winner on DraftKings in the large GPP, it's like $48,700. When it gets to sub 40 points, I know this very well from the Super Bowl, the average salary drops to $48K. So you can leave more salary on the table here. And intuitively, that might not make much sense. It's like, why would I leave salary when there's no value? However, if anyone scores here, they have a really good chance of being in the optimal lineup. And what you can do is by playing kickers and defenses who are cheaper than the tight ends and the wide receiver 2s and 3s, they can outscore those guys and leave salary, right? Or if Donovan Peoples-Jones scores a touchdown and Amari Cooper doesn't, that saves you, scrolling here, 9,400 versus 5,400, 4K. Is that unreasonable? No. DPJ had tons of air yards in week 1. If he just gets into the end zone, he can outscore Cooper in a low-scoring game. You leave a ton of salary, right? So salary is one way. The other way, think about it. I think the field will probably be on this a little bit based on these two quarterbacks with Trubisky and Jacoby Brissett. 0 quarterback lineups hit at a much higher rate, 15% compared to just 2% when the total's sub 40%. So don't be afraid to not play a quarterback tonight if you expect the game to be lower scoring. And we see defense captains be more optimal naturally on slates like this where there are less than 40 points total score. Now, you could be contrarian in large contests tonight and say, you know what? I think they're going to score more than 38 points. They're going to score 45, 50 points. And if that's the case, you build your lineup accordingly. Not many people are going to do that, where you don't play a defense, use some salary, play wide receiver captains, things like that. Things we would play for a high total game. Field's definitely not going to do that. Other thing the fields are going to do, it's kind of crazy because of the pricing. The field is going to play more Pittsburgh-heavy lineups on DraftKings, 4-2, 5-1, 3-3s with Pittsburgh captains. But on FanDuel, it's going to be more Cleveland-heavy. Cleveland captains or Cleveland MVPs, 3-2 lineups, maybe even some 4-1 lineups on FanDuel. And that's a pricing dynamic. So it's very important to know which site you're playing on. So if you want to get different in that way, just play what the field is not doing there. So a couple angles you can look at tonight. Our writer Bismo is going to break it all down in the Daily Plug, the Thursday night edition, OccupyFantasy.com, where he gives rankings for different contest types, lineup construction tips for each individual contest type on both sites, overall slate notes and strategies, contests you want to target. Fantastic resource. Literally gives you everything you need to dominate a showdown slate. So go check that out. The Occupy model is already up and running with projected ownership, as is the lineup builder. Not much more you can get, not much more you need when it comes to building showdown lineups. So that'll do it for this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, get notified when we go live. Upload these videos every Thursday, Monday, Saturday. Go live Saturdays, Tuesday nights. We're live doing videos every single day of the week, basically. So make sure you subscribe. If you appreciate it, give us a thumbs up. That helps the channel, lets us know that you like this type of content. Any questions, feel free to comment on the video. We'll happily get back to you with a sentence or two. If you want an in-depth answer, you want to come sweat out the games or talk with us even more, join our Discord, OccupyFantasy.com/Discord. So, Brian Jester for Occupy Fantasy. Appreciate you listening, and good luck in tonight's Browns and Steelers Thursday night matchup.